The sun was just beginning its descent over Dixon, Kentucky, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold when Amy Slaton's phone rang. She barely recognized the number, but something in the tone of the call made her freeze. A shaky, frantic voice pierced the calm evening air. "Ma'am, Brian Lovehorn, your husband, was involved in a severe auto accident. You must arrive immediately." Amy's world tilted. The words barely registered. Her heart slammed against her chest like it could escape at any moment. "Brian? My Brian?" she whispered, her voice cracking under the weight of panic. In the next room, little Gage played with his toys, oblivious to the impending crisis. Amy bolted from the house within minutes. Amanda, Chris, and Tammy rushed after her, their faces pale, the urgency mirrored in every step. Silence filled the car except for Amy's quiet sobs, which punctuated the journey in rhythm with her heartbeat. Streetlights blurred past, stretching endlessly like time itself had slowed, making every second feel heavier than the last. The emergency room was a flurry of motion and sterile smells. Amy's hands trembled as she demanded to see Brian. A nurse guided her down a narrow corridor to the ICU, where the man she loved lay tangled in wires, machines beeping steadily, an arm encased in a cast, his face bruised and battered. Amy sank onto the edge of the bed, clutching his icy hand. Tears streamed down her face as she whispered, "Brian, baby, please wake up. Don't break your promise that we would grow old together." Tammy approached slowly, her eyes softening as she placed a gentle hand on Amy's shoulder. "Sis, don't give up. Brian is resilient. He always fights." Chris tried to lighten the atmosphere, his voice trembling despite his effort. "He's too stubborn to give up, though he still owes me a fishing trip." Hours passed, long and silent, punctuated by the incessant beeping of monitors. Brian had suffered a brain injury and multiple fractures, yet he remained alive, a spark of hope in the darkness. Amy held his hand through the night, her mind replaying every memory. Their wedding day, quiet movie nights, laughter echoing through their home, the sound of Gage giggling in the next room. Life without him was unimaginable. Morning brought light filtering through the hospital window, a faint promise of hope. Amy's breath caught as she felt slight movement in Brian's fingers. His eyes fluttered, connecting with hers for the first time in hours. "Hey, beautiful," he rasped. Relief crashed over her like a tidal wave. She kissed his hand, sobbing and laughing simultaneously, her heart filling with gratitude that he had survived. Family surrounded the bed, prayers and whispered words of encouragement filling the room. Machines that once seemed ominous now felt like the heartbeat of life returning. Despite the road ahead, Amy felt a surge of determination. They would endure. They would heal. Together. The following days blurred into a whirlwind of hospital visits, emotional conversations, and quiet, private moments of reflection. Amy's gratitude was interspersed with exhaustion, fear, and the constant reminder of life's fragility. Yet even amid the chaos, a seed of hope had been planted, one that would grow, evolve, and carry her forward into a new chapter she could never have anticipated. Amy and Tammy soon found themselves preparing for an extraordinary journey, an invitation to London, England, for a reality TV event honoring global influencers who had inspired millions through weight loss and personal transformation. It was a dream realized, a chance to step beyond Kentucky's familiar streets and into a world that was exciting, unfamiliar, and intimidating. Amy, always energetic, roused Tammy with her typical flair. "Wake up, girl. London awaits. Don't miss our flight." Tammy groaned, swaddled in blankets. "I need beauty sleep." Amy waved a travel pillow in the air. "If you don't pack, the only queen you'll resemble is Burger Queen." Hours of packing ensued. Clothes, toiletries, snacks, Gage's toys, and even a jar of pickles were thrown haphazardly into suitcases. Chris appeared to lend a hand, teasing Amy's attempts at a British accent. Laughter and chaos reigned, quintessential Slaton style. At the airport, cameras captured the sisters navigating the bustling crowd, Amy vlogging with her signature blend of humor and nervous excitement. Tammy clutched her armrest on the plane, imagining her stomach on a roller coaster. Amy handed her a bag of chips. Sis, imagine it like a large roller coaster, except without the yelling part. London greeted them with awe-inspiring sights, historic buildings, the London Eye, red double-decker buses, and accents that made every conversation feel magical. Amy declared fish and chips, Kentucky fried fish, but fancier, making Tammy laugh through tears as she marveled at the cityscape. The trip symbolized more than sightseeing. It was a celebration of survival, growth, and the freedom that came from overcoming life's darkest moments. Amy's journey of healing, once confined to Dixon, Kentucky, now stretched across the globe, full of promise and possibilities. The days following their arrival in London were a mixture of awe, exhaustion, and exhilaration. Amy and Tammy stepped off the plane into a city alive with history, energy, and possibilities. Every street they wandered down felt like stepping into a storybook. Centuries-old buildings loomed above. The chatter of locals and tourists filled the air, and the scent of fresh pastries drifted from corner bakeries. Amy's excitement was palpable. She clutched her camera like a lifeline, vlogging every moment with boundless energy. Guys, you have no idea. The streets, the buses, the shops, everything is so alive. Tammy followed, quieter but smiling, adjusting her camera and capturing the sisterly adventure. The event itself was overwhelming. Influencers, motivational speakers, and people who had inspired millions were gathered in a grand hall, all of them radiant, confident, and driven. Amy and Tammy were honored to be included. For Amy, it wasn't just about recognition, it was about witnessing how far she had come, seeing herself reflected in the strength, determination, and courage of others. Between the event sessions, they wandered the streets of London, laughing, navigating the underground, and occasionally arguing over directions. Amy, always impulsive, dragged Tammy through small shops, sampling local treats and occasionally getting them lost in the winding cobblestone streets. Every misstep was met with laughter, teasing, and eventual discovery of hidden gems, a small cafe with the best pastries, a park where they could sit and watch street performers, a quiet courtyard with a fountain where they paused to rest. Chris called daily, checking in and teasing them about their adventures. "You two better not make America look bad over there," he joked during one video call. Amy giggled, pretending to bow with a British accent. "We'll make sure the Queen approves, Chris." Tammy rolled her eyes but smiled, shaking her head at her sister's antics. Amid the sightseeing, Amy's thoughts often drifted to Brian, still recovering at home. She worried about him constantly, imagining the monotony of hospital routines and the frustration of healing. Yet even in the distance, she felt strengthened by the reminder that life continued. Adventures, laughter, and milestones were waiting, and they would be shared together soon. Back in Dixon, the household was filled with quiet anticipation. Chris and Amanda coordinated home care for Brian, making sure his medication, meals, and therapies were managed. Tammy's absence left a noticeable gap in the house's energy, yet Amy and Tammy's videos and vlogs sent updates that made everyone laugh, keeping the mood light even in their absence. During an evening stroll along the Thames, Amy and Tammy paused, watching the city lights reflect on the water. Amy turned to her sister, voice low but earnest. "You know, Tammy, we've come so far. I never imagined we'd make it here, not after everything. And yet here we are." Tammy nodded, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "I know. And it's not just about the places we go, Amy. It's about how we've survived everything life threw at us. We're stronger than we ever knew." The sisters sat in silence for a moment, letting the magnitude of their journey settle. From hospital rooms and tearful nights to airplane flights and bustling streets of London, the world felt both enormous and intimate. They were proof that life could continue, even after its darkest moments. Returning to their hotel, they discovered small joys in routine. Late-night snacks, journaling, and quiet conversations became sacred moments amid the chaos of travel. Amy shared stories of her past struggles with mental health, her tears, her frustrations, and the steps she had taken to heal. Tammy listened, offering wisdom, support, and humor in equal measure, reminding Amy that growth was a journey, not a destination. Evenings ended with both sisters standing at the window, gazing at the city skyline. Lights twinkled like stars, each one a reminder that beauty could exist even in the most unexpected places. Amy breathed in the cool night air, smiling through tears. "We made it, Tammy. Against all odds, we really made it." Tammy placed a hand on her sister's shoulder, squeezing gently. "Yes, we did. And we'll keep making it day after day, together." London became more than a trip. It became a symbol. It was proof that life could be lived, not just survived. The sisters had endured loss, fear, and uncertainty, yet here they were, strong, resilient, and ready for whatever came next. And for Amy, each moment brought clarity. Healing wasn't just about weight loss or appearances. It was about family, love, laughter, and the courage to face life's challenges with an open heart. Back in Dixon, Kentucky, life slowly began to settle into a new rhythm. Brian's recovery was ongoing, a mix of therapy sessions, medication routines, and the constant care of Chris, Amanda, and Tammy. Each day was a small battle, some days triumphant, others frustrating, but Brian's stubbornness, combined with his family's unwavering support, kept him moving forward. Amy returned home after the London trip with a renewed sense of purpose. The experience had reminded her that life was precious, fleeting, and meant to be embraced, even in the midst of struggle. She approached Brian's care with a mixture of determination and tenderness, careful to respect his space while offering every bit of support she could muster. Gage was the heart of the household, his presence a constant reminder of why they had to persevere. He would run into the living room, chattering endlessly, oblivious to the tension that sometimes hung in the air. "Daddy, look," he'd exclaim, holding up a toy or a drawing. Brian, weak but attentive, would smile, nod, and praise him. Those small moments of connection carried more weight than any doctor's report or a therapy session ever could. Meanwhile, Brittany's pregnancy became a new source of joy and anticipation for the Slaton family. News of the expected baby spread quickly, igniting a whirlwind of excitement, advice, and over-the-top preparations from every family member. Amy and Tammy, seasoned veterans of the family's chaos, eagerly joined in, offering guidance while occasionally teasing Brittany about her nesting habits and compulsive lists. Chris was both thrilled and nervous. He paced the house while reading parenting books, watching YouTube tutorials, and practicing diaper changes on dolls he purchased online. Brittany would watch him with a mixture of amusement and affection, shaking her head at his intensity. "Relax, babe. You'll figure it out," she said, laughing. Tammy, as always, brought her characteristic energy to the preparations. She rearranged the nursery furniture multiple times, debated the best baby monitors, and even organized themed storage bins for tiny clothes and supplies. Brittany learned to smile through the chaos, realizing that each act, though overwhelming at times, came from love and excitement. Amy, having walked a long road of recovery herself, offered gentle support. She reminded Brittany that it was okay to be anxious, to have doubts, and to take each day as it came. "You're going to be an amazing mom," she said one evening as they folded tiny onesies together. "I've seen your strength, Brittany. This baby is lucky to have you." As the weeks progressed, the household filled with a unique mixture of tension, laughter, and anticipation. Every milestone in Brian's recovery was celebrated. A step taken without assistance, a therapy exercise completed, a small smile of progress. Simultaneously, Brittany's pregnancy progressed, each new kick, movement, and checkup marking the passage of time in a way that felt both slow and incredibly swift. Amy and Tammy balanced their roles as sisters, caregivers, and advocates with humor and perseverance. Nights were often filled with whispered conversations about the future, shared memories of past struggles, and dreams for the family's continued growth. They reminded each other that while life had been challenging, it had also been filled with victories, some quiet, some loud, all meaningful. Even in moments of frustration, the family found ways to laugh. Chris would trip over baby supplies or fumble with physical therapy equipment, prompting groans from Amy and eye rolls from Tammy. Brittany would shake her head, smiling despite herself. These moments of levity, small as they were, became vital threads of connection, weaving a sense of normalcy into the household's complicated tapestry. Through it all, Amy reflected on her own journey, the hospital nights, the therapy sessions, the personal growth she had achieved. She recognized that while pain and struggle were unavoidable, resilience, love, and family support could transform even the darkest moments into opportunities for growth. She whispered a quiet thanks for the present moment, for her husband's survival, for Brittany's growing family, and for the bond she shared with her sister, Tammy. In those quiet, reflective moments, the Slaton household found a rhythm, imperfect, sometimes chaotic, but grounded in love. Every challenge, every laughter-filled argument, and every tear shed became part of the story of survival, healing, and hope. Brian's recovery continued, slow but steady, each day marked by small victories and frustrating setbacks. The hospital days were long and grueling at first, but now, back home, he faced the challenge of rebuilding strength while navigating the frustration of dependence. Every movement was deliberate, every step a triumph. Amy remained by his side, patient and unwavering, providing support while encouraging him to push through each exercise and therapy session. The household, though still chaotic, had settled into a delicate rhythm. Chris assisted with daily routines, Amanda managed meals and medications, and Tammy oscillated between being a motivator and a cheerleader, her energy both exhausting and inspiring. Brittany's pregnancy added a new layer to the household dynamic. Her glowing, nervous energy blended with the sisters' chaotic rhythm, creating moments of tension, laughter, and tenderness. Amy marveled at Brittany's strength. Despite the physical and emotional changes, Brittany navigated the pregnancy with resilience and grace, often taking on small household tasks, preparing meals, and keeping a keen eye on the family's schedule. Her natural calmness counterbalanced the Slatons' boisterous energy, bringing a sense of balance to the home. One evening, after a long day of therapy exercises, Brian collapsed into the couch with exhaustion. Amy gently helped him recline, brushing his damp hair from his forehead. "You did amazing today," she said softly. "Every little step counts." Brian smiled weakly, reaching for her hand. "I wouldn't get through this without you," he murmured. His voice was still raspy, but filled with warmth and gratitude. Meanwhile, Brittany's baby preparations were in full swing. She meticulously organized the nursery, washing tiny clothes, setting up cribs, and even color-coordinating toys. Tammy hovered, offering advice and occasional commentary. "You know, Brittany, you'll have to survive on less sleep than you ever imagined," she teased. "But it's worth it." Brittany laughed, shaking her head. "I'm ready for it mostly," she admitted, placing a small stuffed animal on the crib. The sisters shared a quiet smile, recognizing the mixture of excitement and nervousness that came with welcoming a new life into the family. The nights often brought quiet moments of reflection. Amy would sit beside Brian, holding his hand while he slept, whispering words of encouragement or recounting stories from their past. The Slatons' house, usually a whirlwind of noise and chaos, found pockets of stillness in these moments, a rare chance to breathe and process the emotional weight they had all carried. Amy also began revisiting her own healing journey. She journaled, documenting every emotion, every triumph, and every struggle, reflecting on the lessons learned from past mistakes and the resilience she had cultivated. Tammy would sometimes join her, sketching or writing alongside, their shared presence a comforting reminder that they were not alone in their efforts. Laughter remained a vital part of the household. Chris would fumble with baby supplies or drop utensils while cooking, prompting groans and teasing from Amy and Tammy. Even in the midst of recovery, therapy, and pregnancy preparations, the Slatons found joy in these moments, understanding that humor and love were essential to navigating life's challenges. As Brittany's pregnancy progressed, the family grew increasingly excited. Ultrasound appointments, nursery organization, and baby showers became opportunities for bonding and celebration. Amy and Tammy, having faced immense personal struggles themselves, offered guidance and support, recognizing that each milestone, no matter how small, was a victory. Through it all, Brian's determination shone. Despite pain, frustration, and setbacks, he pushed forward, motivated by his love for Amy, his children, and the support of his family. The days were long, and the nights filled with worry, but together, the Slatons endured, building strength and resilience through every challenge. By the end of the parting day, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the household settled into a calm evening, Amy looked around her home. The house was loud and imperfect, filled with toys, therapy equipment, and the remnants of daily chaos. But it was alive with love that had survived tragedy, embraced healing, and now nurtured new beginnings. Amy held Brian's hand, feeling the warmth of his return to life and health, while Brittany rested nearby, cradling the gentle movements of her unborn child. In that moment, the Slatons understood that family, resilience, and love could carry them through even the most tumultuous storms. Brittany's pregnancy began to take center stage in the Slaton household. Each new week brought a fresh wave of excitement, questions, and planning. Amy and Tammy were constantly checking in, offering advice, support, and plenty of humor, knowing that every small milestone deserved celebration. Brittany marveled at the changes in her body, occasionally wincing at the discomfort, but smiling through the anticipation. "I can't believe it's really happening," she said one morning as she felt a strong kick for the first time. Her eyes sparkled with a mixture of awe and nervous excitement. "This little one is really in there." Amy reached over, placing a comforting hand on her sister-in-law's belly. "Feels like they already know we're excited to meet them," she said. Tammy nodded, grinning. "Yeah, and they're lucky. You've got the whole Slaton family cheering for them already." Every doctor's appointment became a family event. Chris insisted on taking detailed notes, asking questions about nutrition, safety, and newborn care. Amy filmed snippets for her personal vlogs, capturing Brittany's reactions to the ultrasound images, her laughter at Chris's commentary, and the tender moments when they all pressed close to the screen, marveling at the tiny life forming before their eyes. Meanwhile, Brian's recovery continued steadily. Though the accident had left him weaker than before, his determination and the family's constant support carried him forward. Physical therapy was challenging, and there were days when frustration boiled over. But Amy's presence, patience, and unwavering encouragement helped him persevere. "You're stronger than you think, Brian," Amy reminded him one evening, holding his hand after a particularly strenuous session. "Every step, every movement, it counts. You're proving it to yourself, and to all of us." Brian smiled weakly, exhaustion in his eyes, but determination in his voice.
"I'm lucky.
"I've got you, Amy.
And this family."
"I wouldn't be here without all of you." Even in moments of struggle, laughter found a way into their home. Chris often dropped things or mismanaged a simple task, prompting groans, eye rolls, and teasing from Amy and Tammy. Brittany, observing the chaos with amusement, found herself laughing more than she had in weeks. The Slaton household, with all its quirks and challenges, was a haven of love, even amid adversity. The sisters also found time to focus on their own personal growth. Amy continued journaling daily, reflecting on her past struggles with weight, emotional health, and addiction. She recognized the progress she had made and celebrated it quietly, sometimes with Tammy, sometimes alone. Tammy, meanwhile, worked diligently on her own health, balancing physical therapy, nutrition, and emotional self-care with unwavering determination. One afternoon, Brittany experienced a scare during a routine checkup. The baby's heartbeat had temporarily slowed, causing momentary panic in the room. Amy, Tammy, and Chris held hands and waited anxiously, each silently praying. When the doctor confirmed that the baby was healthy and the heartbeat had returned to normal, the relief was palpable. Tears, hugs, and whispered promises of protection followed. That evening, the family sat together in the living room, sharing a quiet meal and reflecting on the day's events. "Life throws curveballs," Tammy said softly, "but we're here together. And that counts for everything." Amy nodded, her eyes glistening with unshed tears.
Exactly.
"We've faced tragedies, accidents, arrests, and yet, here we are. Still standing, still loving, still fighting for what matters." Brittany rested her head against Amy's shoulder, feeling the weight of both exhaustion and love. "I don't know what I'd do without all of you," she whispered. Amy stroked her hair gently. "You'll never have to find out. We're all in this together, always." As the weeks passed, the household prepared for the baby's arrival with increasing urgency and excitement. Tiny clothes were washed, cribs assembled, and the nursery meticulously arranged. Every detail was attended to, from blankets to diapers, ensuring that when the time came, nothing would be overlooked. Amy found herself reflecting frequently on the journey that had brought them here. From the terror of Brian's accident to Brittany's pregnancy, the challenges of recovery, and the daily tests of patience and resilience, she recognized that life was unpredictable, often harsh, but also filled with moments of beauty and joy. The Slatons had learned, through years of struggle and triumph, that family, love, and unwavering support could navigate even the stormiest seas. Each laugh, each tear, each small victory reinforced the bond that held them together, making them stronger and more resilient than ever before. And in those quiet, reflective moments, Amy felt a deep sense of gratitude for her husband's survival, for Brittany's growing family, and for the unshakable bond she shared with Tammy and the rest of the Slatons. No matter what came next, they were ready. Together, they could face anything. As the months passed, Brittany's pregnancy advanced, each day bringing new joys, anxieties, and preparations. The Slaton household buzzed with activity, blending excitement, chaos, and tenderness in equal measure. Amy and Tammy were right at the center, offering guidance, encouragement, and their signature mix of humor and love. Brittany's belly grew round and strong, a visible reminder of the new life she carried. She moved cautiously, aware of her changing body and the responsibilities ahead. Amy often watched her in quiet admiration. "You're handling this so well," she said one afternoon as Brittany carefully lifted a box of baby clothes. "I know it's exhausting, but you're doing amazing." Tammy chimed in, her eyes sparkling with pride. "Seriously, Brittany, you're like a superhero. All the planning, the appointments, you're nailing it." Brittany laughed softly, though her fatigue was evident. "I just want everything to be perfect for the baby. I don't want to mess up." Amy placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Perfect doesn't exist, Brittany. Love, care, and attention are more than enough. The baby will feel that every single day." Meanwhile, Brian's recovery continued steadily. He had regained some mobility, but still relied on daily physical therapy and assistance with basic tasks. Amy balanced her time between caring for him and supporting Brittany, often finding herself stretched thin but determined not to let anyone feel neglected. Chris and Amanda did their part, ensuring that meals were prepared, medications organized, and therapy routines followed. The house, though bustling, maintained a sense of order amidst the chaos, a testament to the family's collective effort and unwavering dedication. One particularly quiet evening, Amy sat beside Brian as he rested in the recliner, gently massaging his hand. "You're doing so well, Brian," she whispered. "I'm proud of you every single day." Brian managed a tired but genuine smile. "I couldn't do this without you," he replied, his voice raspy, yet filled with emotion. "You've been my rock." The family also took time to prepare the nursery, with Tammy orchestrating every detail. She rearranged furniture, tested baby monitors, and even color-coded toys, insisting that organization would save lives once the little one arrived. Brittany watched, sometimes overwhelmed, sometimes laughing at Tammy's intensity. Amy stepped in occasionally, smoothing tensions and reminding everyone that the most important thing was love, not perfection. The days were filled with doctor visits, therapy sessions, and the quiet anticipation of a new life. Each kick, each movement from the baby brought excitement and awe. Brittany began to develop a routine of quiet reflection, journaling her thoughts, hopes, and fears, often sharing them with Amy late at night. "I can't believe it's real," Brittany said softly one evening, her hand resting on her belly. "It's not just a dream anymore. There's a baby in there, our baby." Amy squeezed her hand gently. "It's real, Brittany. And we're all here for you. You've got this." The family continued to celebrate small victories in Brian's recovery. Each step taken without assistance, each therapy milestone achieved, was marked with joy, laughter, and sometimes tears. These moments, though challenging, were also reminders of the strength, resilience, and love that bound them together. Amid all the activity, Amy found time to reflect on her own journey. She journaled daily, recorded vlogs, and practiced mindfulness, focusing on gratitude, healing, and growth. Tammy often joined her, adding her own reflections, support, and encouragement. Together, they created a sanctuary within the chaos, a place where love, reflection, and laughter coexisted. As Brittany's due date approached, excitement and nerves intertwined. Preparations for the baby's arrival intensified, hospital bags packed, the nursery finalized, and last-minute appointments completed. Each day brought a mixture of anticipation and reflection, as the family looked back on the challenges they had overcome and forward to the joys and trials of parenthood. One evening, after a long day of nursery organization and baby shopping, Amy sat on the couch with Brittany. The room was quiet, the soft glow of the lamp casting warm light across their faces. "You know," Amy said softly, "this baby is going to grow up surrounded by so much love. Not just from you and Chris, but from all of us. Every single one of us is rooting for them." Brittany smiled, tears brimming in her eyes. "I can feel it, and I'm so grateful. All of this, I couldn't imagine it any other way." Outside, the night air was cool and calm, a stark contrast to the whirlwind of excitement inside. For a moment, the household rested, everyone taking a breath before the arrival of the new life that would bring joy, challenges, and transformation in equal measure. Amy, reflecting on the months since Brian's accident, the London trip, and Brittany's pregnancy, felt a deep sense of gratitude. Life had thrown unimaginable challenges at them, yet here they were, stronger, closer, and more resilient than ever. The Slaton household was ready for the next chapter, and though uncertainty lingered, so did hope, love, and an unwavering belief in the power of family. As Brittany's due date drew near, the household buzzed with anticipation, excitement, and just a touch of chaos. Every corner of the Slaton home reflected preparation. The nursery was neatly arranged, hospital bags packed and double-checked, and the family had coordinated schedules to ensure someone would always be nearby. Brittany moved carefully around the house, feeling the baby's movements with every step. Each kick reminded her that this was no longer just a dream. Soon, they would meet the newest member of the family. She often sat quietly in the nursery, placing her hands on her belly, whispering words of love, and imagining the life ahead. Amy would often join her, providing comfort, encouragement, and occasional humor to ease the nerves. Brian's recovery had progressed significantly. Though still reliant on therapy and support, he regained more independence each week. Simple tasks that had once seemed insurmountable were now achievable, and he relished every small victory. The accident had left deep physical and emotional scars, but his determination, paired with the unyielding support of Amy and the rest of the family, kept him moving forward. "Look at you," Amy said one morning as Brian carefully navigated from the bedroom to the living room. "You're walking like a champ. I'm proud of you." Brian smiled, slightly out of breath but beaming with pride. "It feels good to feel strong again," he admitted, his eyes reflecting the gratitude and love he held for his family. Chris and Tammy continued their roles as motivators and cheerleaders. Chris occasionally teased Brian about regaining strength too slowly, but his humor masked the deep admiration he felt for his brother-in-law. Tammy, ever energetic, kept the household organized, balancing support for Brian, Brittany, and Amy with her own personal routines. Brittany's pregnancy milestones were celebrated daily. Every ultrasound, every movement, and every prenatal appointment was met with joy and reflection. Amy and Tammy made sure these moments were special, taking photos, recording videos, and creating a sense of ceremony around each small achievement. The household was alive with love, excitement, and a shared sense of purpose. One evening, as the family gathered in the living room, Brittany suddenly winced, gripping her belly. Amy and Tammy rushed to her side. "Is everything okay?" Amy asked, concern etched on her face. Brittany nodded, taking deep breaths. "I think it's just a strong contraction. Nothing to worry about yet." The moment reminded everyone how imminent the baby's arrival had become. Chris checked his watch anxiously, pacing while muttering about hospital routes, baby essentials, and parental responsibilities. Tammy placed a hand on his shoulder. "Relax, Chris.
We've got this."
Brittany is strong, and so is the baby. Amy knelt beside Brittany, holding her hand. "Breathe, Brittany. You've prepared for this. You're ready, and we're right here with you every step of the way." That night, the family shared stories of their own childhoods, whispered words of encouragement, and imagined the life awaiting the new baby. Every laugh, every anecdote, and every comforting word strengthened the bonds between them, reinforcing the sense that they were not only family, but a team united by love and resilience. Brittany found herself reflecting on the months leading to this point. From the early excitement of her pregnancy to the challenges of daily life amidst Brian's recovery and the household's energetic chaos, every moment had prepared her for the responsibility and joy of parenthood. Amy and Tammy's unwavering support reminded her that she would never be alone, and the baby would enter a world filled with love, care, and guidance. Brian, observing the family interactions, felt a deep sense of gratitude. His accident had been a life-altering moment, but witnessing the dedication, love, and resilience of those around him gave him hope. Each day, he grew stronger, more confident, and more aware of the importance of cherishing every small victory. As the days passed, Brittany experienced a mixture of excitement and nervousness. Sleep became more difficult, movements more pronounced, and the anticipation of the baby's arrival increasingly palpable. Amy, always attentive, provided both humor and reassurance, helping Brittany navigate the final weeks with calm, laughter, and love. Tammy, energetic as ever, orchestrated final preparations, ensuring that every detail was addressed. From stocking diapers and assembling baby gear to creating a comfortable and organized space, she balanced practicality with care, reminding everyone that preparation was a form of love. The Slaton household, though chaotic at times, reflected the family's resilience and unity. Each member played a vital role in supporting one another, celebrating victories, and preparing for the new chapter that was about to begin. The anticipation was electric, yet tempered by love, patience, and a deep awareness of the journey that had led them here. In quiet moments, Amy would glance at Brittany, Brian, and the rest of the family, feeling an overwhelming sense of gratitude. Life had been unpredictable, filled with challenges, pain, and triumph. Yet here they were, ready to welcome new life, continue healing, and embrace the future together. The days leading up to Brittany's labor were filled with anticipation, nerves, and preparation. Every member of the Slaton household felt the weight of the approaching milestone. Amy and Tammy were constantly on call, ready to assist with last-minute tasks, comfort Brittany, and keep the household running smoothly. Chris oscillated between nervous energy and excitement, often pacing the living room as he double-checked bags and hospital routes. Brittany herself experienced a whirlwind of emotions. Each kick, stretch, and twinge reminded her that the baby was coming soon. She alternated between excitement and anxiety, leaning on Amy for reassurance and Tammy for practical guidance. "You're going to do amazing," Amy whispered one evening as Brittany rested, her hands on her belly. "Just breathe, trust yourself, and know we're all here with you." The night before labor, the household was unusually quiet. Tammy had organized a checklist of items for the hospital, from clothes to baby supplies. Chris had meticulously arranged snacks, water bottles, and car essentials, determined to ensure nothing was forgotten. Amy sat with Brittany in the nursery, holding her hand and talking softly about what to expect, from contractions to the first cry. "I've imagined this moment 1,000 times," Brittany admitted, her voice tinged with nervous excitement. "But now that it's actually happening, I feel scared." Amy smiled gently. "It's natural. Every mom feels that way. You're strong, Brittany, and your baby will know your love from the very first moment." The following morning, Brittany woke early with signs of labor. Amy and Tammy quickly sprang into action, helping her prepare while Chris called the hospital to alert the staff. Brian, now regaining more independence, insisted on staying close, though he relied on Amy and Tammy for support. His gratitude and love were evident in every gesture. The drive to the hospital was filled with tension, laughter, and whispered encouragements. Brittany focused on her breathing, guided by Amy and Tammy, while Chris attempted to lighten the mood with jokes and stories, his nervous energy palpable. Upon arrival, the hospital staff quickly took over, guiding Brittany through check-in, monitoring, and preparations for labor. Amy remained by her side, holding her hand, whispering encouragement, and sharing small words of reassurance. Tammy hovered nearby, offering both practical advice and constant moral support. Brian, watching from a chair across the room, felt a mixture of awe, anxiety, and deep gratitude. His recovery had been long and difficult, but now he witnessed the miracle of new life unfolding before him. Every contraction, every breath, every movement of Brittany was a testament to strength, resilience, and the power of love. Hours passed in a blur of pain, determination, and support. Brittany's strength shone through every challenge, her focus unwavering as Amy and Tammy guided her through the process. Chris paced nervously, offering words of encouragement and occasionally holding back tears of pride and excitement. Finally, after what felt like both an eternity and a fleeting moment, the first cries of the baby filled the room. Brittany's exhaustion was profound, but so was the overwhelming joy. Amy and Tammy shared tears and laughter, while Chris rushed to the newborn, eyes brimming with emotion. Brian, weak but present, managed to touch the baby's tiny hand. "We made it," he whispered, his voice raspy but filled with gratitude and love. "We really did." Brittany, holding her child for the first time, was overcome with emotion. Tears streamed down her face as she whispered promises of love, protection, and devotion. Amy leaned close, offering a supportive hug and a quiet "You did it. You really did it." Tammy's eyes glistened as she captured the moment in her mind, knowing it would be a memory cherished forever. The family spent the rest of the day celebrating quietly in the hospital room. Pictures were taken, hands held, and stories shared. Every member of the Slaton household felt the profound bond of family, one strengthened by hardship, recovery, and now, the miracle of new life. As night fell and the room settled into a peaceful calm, Brittany held her newborn close. Amy sat beside her, gently stroking her back, while Tammy arranged the baby's things with meticulous care. Chris hovered nearby, occasionally leaning in to marvel at the tiny life he had helped bring into the world. Brian rested, exhausted but filled with pride and awe. In that quiet, profound moment, the Slaton family understood that life's struggles, heartbreaks, and challenges were all part of a larger story, one of love, resilience, and hope. The baby's first cries were not only a signal of new life, but a reminder that even after the darkest storms, light, love, and joy could always return. The hospital room, filled with soft blankets, gentle laughter, and the hum of life, became a sanctuary. Every heartbeat, every touch, and every shared glance reaffirmed the power of family, the importance of support, and the boundless strength of love. The first weeks after the baby's arrival were a whirlwind of emotion, exhaustion, and discovery for Brittany and Brian. Nights were filled with feedings, diaper changes, and the soft sounds of a newborn settling into the world. Despite the fatigue, every coo, yawn, and tiny grasp of a finger reminded them why the long journey had been worth it. Amy and Tammy remained pillars of support. Amy often helped with feedings, soothing the baby when Brittany needed a moment to rest. Tammy took charge of organization, creating schedules, monitoring supplies, and ensuring that Brian could participate in baby care safely while still attending to his own recovery. Brittany marveled at the miracle she held in her arms. "I can't believe this tiny human came from me," she whispered one morning, tears pooling in her eyes. "I feel so responsible, but so blessed." Amy smiled, brushing a strand of hair from Brittany's face. "You're doing amazing. Every step, every challenge, every tear, it's all part of being the incredible mom you already are." Brian, though still regaining strength, eagerly embraced his role as a father. The accident had left him physically limited at times, but emotionally, he was fully present. Every smile from the baby, every gurgle, every tiny movement brought him joy and renewed purpose. The household adapted to the new rhythm. Mornings were filled with gentle chaos as feedings, therapy exercises, and breakfast intertwined. Afternoons often brought moments of calm, where Brittany could rest while Amy and Tammy handled chores or entertained the baby. Nights, though demanding, were softened by shared responsibility, laughter, and quiet moments of reflection. Chris occasionally struggled to contain his excitement. He marveled at the newborn, asking endless questions about development, schedules, and milestones. Amy often teased him gently, reminding him that babies weren't a science experiment, but a tiny human needing love and patience. Family bonding reached a new level during these weeks. Brian's recovery continued steadily, and he was able to hold the baby for longer periods, with Brittany's careful guidance. The little one responded to their voices, smiles, and touches, creating a growing sense of unity, love, and connection that filled the house. Amy reflected often on the journey that had led them here. From the trauma of Brian's accident to Brittany's pregnancy and the challenges of their own personal growth, every hardship had contributed to this moment of profound joy. Her vlogs and journal entries captured the raw, unfiltered experiences of love, struggle, and hope. Tammy found herself in awe of the family's resilience. She watched Brian's determination, Brittany's nurturing, and Amy's unwavering support, recognizing that their collective strength had created an environment where even the most difficult challenges could be met with courage. Visitors began arriving in small groups, offering congratulations, gifts, and encouragement. The Slatons, used to the limelight, balanced their desire for privacy with the joy of sharing their milestone with loved ones. Every interaction, smile, and embrace reinforced the sense that family extended beyond immediate relations, encompassing a supportive, loving community. As the weeks passed, Brittany and Brian grew more confident in their parenting roles. Nights gradually became more manageable, feedings more routine, and the household settled into a rhythm that allowed both care and reflection. Amy and Tammy continued to offer guidance, humor, and love, while Chris provided support and levity, often bringing laughter to balance the inevitable exhaustion. The baby's milestones, first smile, first grasp, first recognition of voices, became moments of collective celebration. Each small achievement, though seemingly ordinary, carried immense emotional weight for a family that had endured so much. The Slatons understood that joy could be found in the smallest moments, and they treasured each one. Amy often took quiet moments to herself, reflecting on her own growth, resilience, and capacity for love. She recognized that the family's journey was far from over, but that they were stronger, closer, and more unified than ever before. Life's challenges had taught them patience, empathy, and the importance of unconditional support. As the days stretched into weeks, the household embraced a new normal. Brian's strength continued to grow, Brittany's confidence as a mother flourished, and the baby thrived in the nurturing, chaotic, and deeply loving environment of the Slatons. Every laugh, tear and moment of reflection reinforced the unbreakable bonds of family, resilience, and love. The little one, cradled in Brittany's arms, became a symbol of hope, renewal, and the extraordinary power of enduring love. In the quiet moments, when the house settled and the baby slept peacefully, the family would gather together, holding hands, exchanging smiles, and silently acknowledging the incredible journey that had led them to this point. Life, with all its trials and triumphs, had brought them here, and the future, though uncertain, promised love, resilience, and unyielding connection for the family that had survived it all. The weeks following the baby's arrival were filled with celebration, adjustment, and quiet reflection. The Slaton household had fully embraced its new rhythm, the sounds of the newborn's laughter and cries blending seamlessly with the bustling energy of a family that had endured so much together. Every day brought small victories, a full night's sleep for Brittany, Brian managing more independently, and the baby reaching new milestones that filled the family with pride and joy. The extended family made regular visits, each interaction strengthening bonds and reinforcing a sense of community. Amy and Tammy continued to provide guidance, humor, and unwavering support, ensuring that Brittany and Brian felt confident in their roles as parents. Even Chris, with his boundless energy and occasional clumsiness, became an indispensable part of the new routine, balancing lightheartedness with practical assistance. Amy found herself reflecting often on the journey that had brought them to this point. From the terror of Brian's accident to Brittany's pregnancy and the birth of the baby, every challenge had reinforced the importance of resilience, patience, and unconditional love. She continued journaling and vlogging, documenting moments of triumph, struggle, and the quiet beauty of family life. Tammy, having overcome her own personal battles, embraced her role as a mentor and pillar of support. She celebrated her sister's successes, Brian's recovery, and Brittany's growth as a mother, recognizing that their collective strength had created an environment where love and healing could flourish. Brittany, growing more confident with each passing day, found joy in the simplest moments, the baby's tiny fingers curling around hers, the soft sound of laughter during playtime, and the quiet, peaceful nights when she could rest with the newborn sleeping beside her. Brian, though still mindful of his recovery, relished his new role as a father, cherishing each smile, coo, and interaction with the baby. The household celebrated milestones with enthusiasm. First words, first steps, and first playful interactions became opportunities for the family to come together, laughing, sharing, and marveling at the growth and development of the newest member of their family. Each achievement, though small, carried immense emotional significance, reinforcing the bonds that had been strengthened through adversity. Amy and Tammy took time to reflect on their own journeys. Their personal growth, resilience, and capacity for love had transformed not only their own lives, but also the lives of those around them. They recognized that the challenges they had faced, from weight struggles to health crises, arrests, and emotional hardships, had shaped them into a family capable of facing anything together. The Slaton household, once defined by chaos and struggle, had evolved into a sanctuary of love, healing, and connection. The laughter of children, the shared meals, the quiet moments of reflection, and the unspoken bonds of support created an environment where hope and joy flourished. Brittany and Brian, now confidently navigating parenthood, found strength in the support of their family. Each day brought new lessons, new challenges, and new moments of love and connection. They embraced the unpredictability of life with courage and gratitude, understanding that family, resilience, and unconditional support would guide them through any obstacle. Amy, observing the household, felt a profound sense of gratitude and accomplishment. The trials of the past, from near tragedy to personal struggles, had shaped them into a family capable of enduring anything. She marveled at the growth, love, and resilience that surrounded her, understanding that the Slatons' journey was far from over, but that they were stronger, closer, and more united than ever. The final weeks of this chapter were marked by celebration, joy, and reflection. Birthdays, small family gatherings, and quiet evenings reinforce the sense that life, though unpredictable and often challenging, could also be beautiful, full of love, and filled with hope. The baby, thriving in the care of Brittany and Brian, symbolized renewal, growth, and the extraordinary power of family. As the sun set over Dixon, Kentucky, Amy, Tammy, Brittany, Brian, and the little one gathered on the porch, watching the sky turn shades of pink and gold. The air was filled with laughter, whispers of love, and a deep, unspoken understanding that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. Amy reflected silently, thinking of the journey that had brought them here. The accidents, arrests, health struggles, and personal battles that had tested them in every way. Yet, in the midst of chaos and adversity, they had discovered strength, resilience, and the boundless power of love. Brittany rested her head on Brian's shoulder, the baby nestled between them. Tammy and Amy sat nearby, smiling, content in the knowledge that their family had endured, healed, and grown. Chris stood at the edge of the porch, capturing the moment in a quiet photograph, understanding that these memories, small, tender, and profound, would last a lifetime. They embraced the unpredictability of life with courage and gratitude, understanding that family, resilience, and unconditional support would guide them through any obstacle. Amy, observing the household, felt a profound sense of gratitude and accomplishment. The trials of the past, from near tragedy to personal struggles, had shaped them into a family capable of enduring anything. She marveled at the growth, love, and resilience that surrounded her, understanding that the Slatons' journey was far from over, but that they were stronger, closer, and more united than ever. The final weeks of this chapter were marked by celebration, joy, and reflection. Birthdays, small family gatherings, and quiet evenings reinforced the sense that life, though unpredictable and often challenging, could also be beautiful, full of love, and filled with hope. The baby, thriving in the care of Brittany and Brian, symbolized renewal, growth, and the extraordinary power of family. As the sun set over Dixon, Kentucky, Amy, Tammy, Brittany, Brian, and the little one gathered on the porch, watching the sky turn shades of pink and gold. The air was filled with laughter, whispers of love, and a deep, unspoken understanding that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. Amy reflected silently, thinking of the journey that had brought them here. The accidents, arrests, health struggles, and personal battles that had tested them in every way. Yet, in the midst of chaos and adversity, they had discovered strength, resilience, and the boundless power of love. Brittany rested her head on Brian's shoulder, the baby nestled between them. Tammy and Amy sat nearby, smiling, content in the knowledge that their family had endured, healed, and grown. Chris stood at the edge of the porch, capturing the moment in a quiet photograph, understanding that these memories, small, tender, and profound, would last a lifetime. Life, though never perfect, had become a testament to survival, love, and the extraordinary bonds of family. The Slatons, with their flaws, quirks, and boundless energy, had proven that even in the darkest storms, hope, healing, and joy could emerge. Together, they faced the future with courage, laughter, and an unwavering commitment to one another. The baby's soft breathing, the warmth of family, and the promise of tomorrow filled the night air. As stars emerged in the sky, the Slatons felt a profound sense of peace. Life would continue to challenge them, but they had learned the ultimate truth. Together, there was nothing they could not overcome. And so, in the quiet of that Kentucky evening, the Slaton family, healed, resilient, and full of love, embraced the next chapter of their lives, ready for whatever joys, struggles, and adventures awaited them. The story of their endurance, growth, and love would continue, a beacon of hope for all who watched, proving that even after the darkest trials, life could bloom anew. Life in the Slaton household began to settle into a new rhythm, yet the energy never slowed. Brittany and Brian were slowly finding their footing as new parents, learning the delicate balance between attending to the baby, supporting each other, and navigating their own recovery and personal growth. Nights were still challenging, but each passing week brought longer stretches of rest, and small victories were celebrated with laughter, hugs, and shared relief. Brittany had started to carve out moments for herself, recognizing that self-care was essential for being the parent she wanted to be. Early morning walks became her sanctuary, a time to breathe, reflect, and prepare for the day ahead. Amy often accompanied her, sharing quiet conversation, support, and encouragement. Their walks became more than exercise. They were moments of emotional connection, reflection, and sisterly bonding. Brian's recovery continued, though progress was sometimes slow and frustrating. He faced physical limitations, yet his determination never wavered. Every time he managed a task independently, whether holding the baby for longer periods or navigating the stairs, the family celebrated. These small victories were reminders that healing, both physical and emotional, was a journey to be embraced patiently. The family decided to create a structured routine that allowed everyone to participate and support one another. Mornings were dedicated to baby care, therapy exercises for Brian, and light household chores. Afternoons became a time for rest, reflection, and bonding. Evenings were for shared meals, storytelling, and laughter, keeping the atmosphere of love and connection strong despite the inevitable chaos of parenting and recovery. Amy found herself reflecting often on the journey that had brought them here. From near-tragic accidents to personal struggles, arrests, and public scrutiny, each challenge had reinforced the importance of resilience, family support, and self-belief. Her vlogs, journal entries, and personal reflections became tools for healing and inspiration, allowing her to process her experiences and share lessons learned with those who watched. Tammy, ever vigilant and nurturing, continued to support Brittany and Brian. She became both a mentor and a protector, offering guidance, encouragement, and a watchful eye to ensure the household maintained balance. Her own recovery and growth had taught her the importance of patience, empathy, and the power of consistent support. The baby, growing quickly, became the center of the household's joy and focus. Every coo, smile, and small milestone was celebrated as a family triumph. Brian marveled at the tiny human's development, feeling awe and gratitude for being able to witness and participate in this new life despite the challenges he had faced. Brittany, confident and nurturing, relished every moment of motherhood, even in the midst of fatigue and uncertainty. As the weeks passed, the Slatons began planning small outings, trips to parks, and moments to enjoy the outdoors. These excursions were not only for the baby's stimulation but also for the family's mental and emotional well-being. Amy often captured these experiences on camera, sharing glimpses of life filled with joy, resilience, and authenticity. The household faced inevitable challenges, sleepless nights, unexpected tantrums, and moments of frustration, but these were tempered by humor, love, and teamwork. Chris frequently brought laughter to tense moments, while Amy and Tammy ensured that emotional support was always available. Brian and Brittany, learning to navigate parenthood, relied on the family's collective strength to sustain them. Family milestones, both big and small, became opportunities for celebration and reflection. The baby's first smile, the first time they rolled over, and the earliest signs of personality were documented, cherished, and shared. The Slatons recognized that these moments were fleeting yet precious, a reminder of the beauty of family, growth, and love. Amidst the chaos, quiet moments of reflection became more frequent. Brittany and Brian often sat together after the baby slept, holding hands, sharing hopes for the future, and acknowledging the challenges they had overcome. These moments reinforced their bond, reminding them that they were not only parents but partners navigating life together, learning, growing, and healing alongside one another. As Part 11 closed, the Slaton household had evolved into a harmonious blend of love, resilience, and daily triumphs. The baby thrived, Brian's recovery continued steadily, and Brittany's confidence as a mother blossomed. Amy and Tammy's unwavering support ensured that every challenge was met with courage, patience, and love. For the Slatons, life was no longer defined by past struggles or public scrutiny. It was now defined by shared victories, growth, and the quiet, profound joy of a family united, ready to face whatever the future held, together. As the baby grew into a curious and active little one, the rhythm of the Slaton household shifted yet again. Brittany and Brian quickly learned that parenthood was a constantly evolving journey, with each new day presenting surprises, lessons, and moments of joy. The baby's laughter became a soundtrack to the house, replacing the echoes of worry and fear that had once defined their lives. Brittany found herself more confident than ever. She had learned to anticipate the baby's needs, understand subtle cues, and manage the chaos of daily life with grace. Even on sleepless nights, she found solace in the small victories, a perfectly swaddled baby, a successful feeding, or a giggle that lit up the room. Amy often reminded her, these little moments are everything. They're tiny victories that matter more than anything else. Brian, whose recovery had been long and challenging, relished the newfound independence that parenting provided. Each day brought small improvements in mobility, strength, and confidence. He reveled in his role as a father, reading bedtime stories, changing diapers, and even coaxing giggles from the baby with his quirky sense of humor. The accident that had once threatened his life now seemed a distant memory, replaced with gratitude and purpose. The family's dynamic deepened as everyone adapted to the evolving household. Chris frequently checked in, offering practical support, humor, and encouragement. Tammy, now fully embracing her role as a mentor and organizer, kept schedules in place, coordinated meals, and ensured the family remained balanced despite the constant activity. Amy, ever the chronicler of their lives, captured these moments with her camera, sharing stories of resilience, love, and growth with viewers who had followed them through every trial. Outside the home, the family began exploring the community more often. Trips to the park, local fairs, and even simple walks around the neighborhood became cherished opportunities for bonding. Brittany loved watching the baby interact with the world, pointing at trees, flowers, and passing dogs, while Brian's laughter filled the air whenever the little one attempted wobbly steps or shouted in delight. Challenges inevitably arose. The baby's sleep schedule was unpredictable, tantrums occasionally erupted, and minor illnesses tested the family's patience. Yet, these difficulties were softened by teamwork, humor, and the unwavering support of everyone in the household. Amy and Tammy often stepped in to give Brittany and Brian breaks, allowing them to recharge and maintain their well-being. During one particularly hectic afternoon, Brittany sat exhausted on the couch while the baby napped. Brian approached with a small tray of snacks. "You need a break," he said gently, placing it beside her. "I've got the baby for a while." Brittany smiled, grateful for his thoughtfulness. "Thank you," she whispered, leaning back with a sigh of relief. "We're really doing this, aren't we?" Brian nodded, watching the baby sleep. "We are. And we're stronger for it. Every challenge, every sleepless night, every obstacle, it's all brought us here." Amy, observing from the doorway, smiled quietly. "It's remarkable how far everyone has come," she thought. From the hardest days to this moment, they've grown, healed, and built something beautiful together. Tammy, organizing the nursery, reflected similarly. "It hasn't been easy," she murmured. "But look at them, love, strength, and resilience have carried us through. That's what family is about." As the days turned into weeks, Brittany and Brian found themselves embracing new routines, traditions, and milestones. First smiles, rolling over, and babbling words became sources of immense pride. The baby's curiosity and personality shone through, creating laughter, wonder, and sometimes chaos in equal measure. The Slatons also prioritized self-care and personal growth alongside parenting. Brittany returned to light exercise. Amy continued her vlogs and journaling. Brian focused on therapy and strength-building exercises, and Tammy maintained her health routines. Each person balanced personal goals with family responsibilities, understanding that growth and healing were ongoing processes. The family began planning for the future. Discussions about schooling, family outings, and even travel filled the household with excitement. Dreams that had once felt distant, like vacations or celebrations, became tangible goals. The shared sense of purpose, love, and resilience drove each decision, reinforcing the deep bonds that had formed through shared struggles and triumphs. Through laughter, tears, challenges, and victories, the Slatons had created a home defined by love, perseverance, and unwavering support. The baby's presence served as a living reminder of the family's ability to heal, adapt, and thrive, no matter the obstacles they faced. As Part 12 closes, the household embraced a sense of harmony, joy, and hope. Life remained unpredictable, but the Slatons faced each day with courage, love, and unity. Together, they had transformed adversity into growth, chaos into connection, and uncertainty into a vibrant, loving home filled with laughter, learning, and endless possibility.